Hi again. This is Mike Siver and Carrie Schluter, and we're doing the Mike Siver Show. And it's an ongoing topic of growing up versus maturity. This is part 4, and we don't know how many parts we're going to have, but we're still going to keep going. And as I said on the last show, if anybody watching wants to come on and talk about an incident or an issue or something they have that's bothering them about this topic, please give the show a call or give the number a call that's on the screen, or email me at whydidi001@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to respond, and hopefully we can have you on the show. Well, we're talking with Carrie again, and we left off with the boy that cried wolf, and this is one of Carrie's pet peeves. So we're going to let Carrie take over for a little bit here and talk about that.
Okay, well, the boy that cried wolf, we're talking about being grown up versus maturity, and they're not the same.
Right.
How we respond to people is what the last show was. We were talking about how we respond in front of our children, how we respond to other people, other adults. If we go flying into, we get upset and hear something from the school, something's going on, and we go in there all irate. Just to give an example, we go flying in there and using foul language or talking with disrespect. We're giving off something, and we're working towards, we're an example to others of how to respond and how to act. Mm-hmm. So the boy that cried wolf, if we are constantly acting out in front of our children instead of reacting, that was the main part of the topic in the last show. Yep. Was to act versus react. Yep. To a situation. So many times people will react. If something comes up, you're all of a sudden, that makes me so upset, or I don't like that, or pick up your shoes. It's all one and the same. It's life and living. Yep. Every day things come at us. How we respond to those things shows our level of maturity. We are also training the next generation how to respond to the things that come at them all their life. And we're teaching them their product of their environment. If you had mentioned the boy that cried wolf, how does that fit into the subject and topic that we're talking about is with our children. If we're always saying the same thing, close the refrigerator, and you raise your voice, you raise your voice, you raise your voice. The next thing you know, they're numb to it. People become numb to it. Another way to look at that is if a person in our life is constantly saying, I don't feel good, I don't feel good, I'm just really sick. And you take them to the doctor, you stop your world, and you go help them, and you get them this, and you get them that, and you take them to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, there's really nothing wrong. They just need to get more exercise. And they lay there the next time going, I just don't feel good, I don't know why I don't feel good. After a while, Mike, you're going to get conditioned to that. Yep. It's giving off something. You're going to get to the point where you go, you know what? Okay, I love you, but I'm just going to keep on doing my thing. And then the next thing you know, when something does happen, you're not there. With our children, if we are constantly yelling at them, doing the same, repeating the same act with our children, if they're doing something we don't like and we're trying to change it, and we're constantly doing that same thing, they're getting numb to it. It's not going to change until we step back and say, okay, I need to try something different. Right. If the road you're trying to get to Chicago on is not getting you to Chicago, you need to step back and make a new map. Yep. Right? You don't just keep getting on that same road, traveling that same route, and expect to get where you're wanting to go if it's not taking you there and you've been down that road a while. Right? So going back to raising the children or life and living, we always have to remember that we're creating something with everything we do. One of the things we talked about during break is everything gives off something. Yep. That look on the person's face can be as simple as that. I really just don't feel good. I really just don't feel good. After a while, at first you're going, oh, I'm sorry, you know, what can I do? And if that same person is always going, I just really don't feel good. And they're still around and nothing's happening and they're not going to the doctor and getting it fixed.
Right.
After a while, you become numb to that. It's giving off something that is not a positive. So we even condition ourselves to the situation and environment around us,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We can condition ourselves. We can condition ourselves to an atmosphere of chaos. We can condition ourselves to an atmosphere of perfect cleanliness, nothing out of place. Some people are really funny about that, you know, nothing's to be out of place or they go ballistic.
Yep.
So, but they are a product of their environment and they are conditioned to their atmosphere and their surroundings. And all of us are creating our own atmosphere. We're creating our own surroundings.
Yep.
By everything we do. Every look on our face is giving off something. Every word we say and the tone in which we say it is giving off something. And there's nothing, going back to the biblical, there's nothing in this world that doesn't give off something. If you're watching television, you're either getting good or bad.
Yep.
You cannot get maybe bad or kind of, sort of. There is no word that describes good and bad equally as the same thing without adding a second word. It's like God is good, God is light, and in him there is no darkness. So can you put God and darkness in the same spot? It's either one or the other. When you flip on the light of the Lord Jesus Christ, the darkness has to flee.
Yep.
It's all immutable laws. And immutable laws are laws that are just common. What goes up is going to come down.
Right.
If you jump off a building, you're going to hit the ground. You know, I mean, it's immutable laws. They're things that are going to happen. When you flip a light switch on, if the light bulb is working, you're going to get light. It dispels the darkness. The darkness doesn't hide in the corner. The darkness doesn't stay on the side of the room unless it's shadowed. So it's still light, but there's something else in the way that's causing the shadow. It's not that light didn't cover that. There's something blocking. There's something else in there.
Right.
It becomes another word, light, dark, and shadow. See what I mean? So when you're looking at life and living, if we are allowing things to come in, even the music we listen to, the music our children are listening to, the TV shows that are on in the background, they are giving off something. Is it giving off a good? Is it giving off a bad? Is it giving off evil? Is it giving off violence? Because it can't be violence and then good. So many people will say, yeah, but this is a really good movie. I know there's this one part where they get murdered and he slaughters them with a hammer, but that's okay. I mean, the rest of the movie's great. It's got a good plot. Well, if your child is still watching that murder, watching that, and somebody in that is accepting it, did they take to the good or the bad person's side in what it gave off to them? It's still conditioned a part of them to accept that. Am I correct?
Yeah. And
So we don't put enough importance on what it's giving off and what is really causing our troubles. It could be our expression, our voice, our tone. It could be something that's on in the corner that we're watching that is affecting the way that they are growing up and thinking.
yeah. And part of what you just said reminded me of some of the stuff that we talk about in some of the groups that we work, is that with the reaction versus action,
Act versus react.
it's easier to react than it is to stop and think.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
that's where I think a bigger problem that we go wrong a lot as adults or parents raising our children is when things go wrong with them, they don't act, they react. Almost every time. And they're going to keep doing that all their lives until we teach them that now it's time for action, which is thinking. You think about, like we talked in the last show, the consequences for my actions. And unless that's taught, you get reaction on everything. And I use the example a lot about road rage. You know, I consider myself a pretty good driver. I like to signal when, you know, it's from the old days. And I try not to speed and all these kind of good things. But when I don't get other drivers treating me the way I treat them, I now, because I'm old enough now, I think about it, You know, that's just an idiot. He's going to get himself into an accident or whatever, or get somebody else into an accident. But when I was younger, well, I'd get mad. I'd get upset because somebody turned in front of me without signaling. And I couldn't do anything about it. It's not my choice, it's his choice. He endangered me, I thought, and really all I had to do was slow down. So he didn't really, he really didn't endanger me a lot, but I chose to have him endanger me by not slowing down.
Right.
I sort of pushed the limits a little bit. Well, that's reaction versus action. He's reacting, I'm reacting. Next thing you know, you can have an issue, a big serious issue. Our job as adults who we consider ourselves mature is to teach other people, or young people especially, because that's our future, to act versus react. And if we can maybe get that theme going in a lot of different cases, we can have a little bit more peaceful life. A lot of what I deal with too are people that get a lot of anger management classes that we deal with. And the people get into a comfort zone of what we call chaos and confusion. If your life for years has been anger, chaos, and confusion, that almost becomes an energy level for you.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not upset about something, my adrenaline's not rushing, then I get tired. And my question to them sometimes, and I've asked this on this show several times, what do you do if you wake up in the morning and everything is perfect? You sit up in bed and the light goes on. You get up to go brush your teeth and your toothbrush is laying out with toothpaste on it already. And you go walk back into the bedroom to get dressed and your clothes are, the bed is made and your clothes are laid out. Exactly what you want to wear. What do you do if everything is perfect all day long?
Thank God for the angels.
Yeah, I would thank God.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know because I don't know what I would do.
Right.
Well, how about just enjoy it? How about just enjoy the day, the benefit you've gotten for that day? And most of them will agree by the end of the day, or at least halfway through the day, they would have to create a problem. So they would have something to complain about. They would have something to meet their psychological need of chaos and confusion. If I'm not complaining, I'm not happy. And they think that's their happiness. And they think it's a world that everybody lives in. Well, not everybody wants to hear it.
Right.
And, you know, it's tough when you have people that you know and care about who live in that world. And mostly it's younger people that get caught up in this, nobody's treating me right, I'm a victim, nobody understands me, nobody cares about me, blah, blah, blah. And they create themselves into a victim state, which makes everybody should feel sorry for me, everybody should take care of me, or be nice to me and help me, because if you don't, then I'm not going to be happy. And they live that life so long that it becomes a comfort zone for them. They wake up upset. They wake up ready to attack the world and become very defensive no matter what you say. If you offer to let them get out of something that maybe they committed to doing, the first thought comes into their head is, well, you don't want me to do it. No, what I'm offering you is a way, today it's okay if you don't do it. I'm on your side. I'm trying to help you. This gives you a free afternoon or a free day. If you choose not to come along and do this thing for me, I'm trying to be helpful. Next thing you know, you're defending yourself. They're making you defend yourself to them. And now they're a victim. And now you're feeling sorry for them. And they're back in the center of the limelight. Because once you're a victim, you want everybody to look at you and help you. It's like getting run over by a car. I mean, the whole world stops for 5 minutes because you got run over by a car. Ambulance is there, police are there, everybody's there, doctors are there, and you're the center of attention. Complete center of attention. A lot of people like to have that 24/7 in their lives as well. They become victims. That's not maturity. Because once you create an issue, your issue affects other people. But you don't really care about that. You care about your consequences for your actions, your behavior, your likes, your dislikes, and what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And people don't understand that that's a huge immaturity of an adult, to put your issues, your burdens, and your troubles on everybody else, whether they ask for them or not. Mm-hmm. And how many people have you walked into and without asking, how are you today? They tell you, I had a bad day today. Oh, it didn't go well. This happened, that happened. And they're on and on and on. They don't stop. Mm-hmm. Rather than just say, well, today was a bad day. I wish it would have been better. Now, how about let's go have some ice cream? Mm-hmm. That doesn't go that way. It doesn't work like that. And my question always is, over the last 4 classes, or last 4 sessions we're doing here, is how do we, again, get the young people to start thinking about action? And I like what you said, reaction versus action. I'm going to write that in here somewhere. To not react all the time. Stop reacting.
Did you act or react?
Yeah, did you act or react?
That should be a first question.
No, I understand when...
It usually shows the outcome. In the outcome, it shows.
I fully understand when there's a car coming down the road, you're going to react. You're going to jump all the way. I understand that. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about life, day by day, waking up. What do you do? Like, about a year ago, I woke up in the morning and my dog, which we had just gotten, chewed a hole through the top of my slippers. Mm-hmm. So I have one slipper that's perfectly good and one where my toes are sticking out. Mm-hmm. Could I have reacted? Definitely. Did I? No. Because it's a puppy, it was leather sandals, he was chewing on something. That's what dogs do. Mm-hmm. Now, if I wanted to act, I should have thought, maybe I need to put these up. It's a new puppy in the house. Mm-hmm. You know, he got them. Mm-hmm. I still wear them today with the holes. He doesn't chew them anymore. I didn't beat him, but I didn't react. I acted. And I know some people that would have probably killed the dog.
Yeah. Because
of that. Mm-hmm. So we have to figure out, how are we going to do this in the future, and how are we going to start teaching our children? And that's what this whole show is about. That's what I try to work with parents and parenting. I know that's what you try to do with some of the work that you do. And maybe we need to call a group, have a meeting, have a town hall meeting. Mm-hmm. Or how can we get 1 or 2 people? You know, you change 1, maybe you'll change 2, change 3, maybe you'll change 6. Well, I'm not talking about changing people. I'm just talking about introducing another thought process. And there's a couple quotes here. One says, the present becomes your past that helps shape your future. So if today is the present, tomorrow it's your past. Mm-hmm. So what you do today can help shape your tomorrow. And we don't think like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people that I know that think like that are the people that are looking for promotions. Mm-hmm. That, I'm going to be good now for a long time because I want to be the boss here. Mm-hmm. So you've got a focus and a goal and a goal in mind, which is great. But how about everyday life? Today becomes my past tomorrow. What I do today, who I meet today, they're in my past tomorrow. They're going to help me shape my future tomorrow again. So if I meet somebody and I treat them like an idiot, it's now my past, and I've treated him like an idiot in my past. He may become my boss tomorrow. Do we ever think like that?
Most people get really confused. It's hard enough just keeping up with today.
But we have to think like that. We have to get children, to start thinking about what I do today is my past tomorrow, and I'm responsible for that. That's my reputation. That's my name.
Well, it's setting the course for our tomorrow.
Yep.
Whatever choice we make today whatever action we take is going to, it's going to dictate tomorrow being different or being the same, better or worse. Not kind of sort of better if, but better or worse. And, when you're dealing with a certain situation, I think, the topic here with whether we're raising children or trying to get along with other adults, we're trying to train ourselves and the next generation to act instead of react, to be mature in our thinking and decision making, and how do we train that next generation that's coming up. And we deal a lot with families, people who have made a mistake yesterday that are trying to change that to get back on track. What decisions you make today and what things you do today are going to determine where you're going to be tomorrow. Whether it's having your children in better order, getting more control on your finances, your health, anything. It's what you focus on is what you're going to receive.
And it gets back to the very beginning of the first show when we talked about growing up versus maturity. And again, we both deal with young people, and I deal with them for the court systems. And they somehow think because they're now adults and they're grown up, that they should be treated with respect and the maturity that an adult has, when they're not acting like one at all.
Right.
And I forget who, it might have been you, somebody told me the other day, but that person's 30 going on 3.
Yeah, that would be me probably.
But, I thought about it for a minute, and that makes so much sense. I get these guys, and I've got one I'm working with now who continually blames the legal system for all his problems.
Oh, yeah.
And I keep telling him that had you not initially, whatever it was you did what you did to get yourself arrested, from that point on, you've given your power to the legal system.
The legal system, yeah.
Now, there's good legal systems and there's bad legal systems, but you've given your power to whatever one it chooses to be, and you have no say in it anymore. And that's really hard for a lot of them to swallow. In order for you not to be involved with the legal system, you cannot do anything you've done in the past, or even a little bit like you've done in the past, because now you have a paper trail. Now they've got you, this one, this one, this one. Hopefully it's only one, but sometimes it's multiple, 2 or 3 charges. And you start a paper trail with the legal system, they've got you. And if you think for 1 minute that just because you're an adult, that you can talk your way out of this, or you can rationalize to where it's different today, if it was, you wouldn't be arrested again.
Right.
And that's a hard one for some of these guys to swallow.
Well, one of the things that I deal with people when I'm counseling or coaching someone, it's easy to put the blame. Everyone wants to blame someone else for their situation. Once you accept responsibility for your choices and what role you played in that, regardless, you can't blame somebody else for where you are. It's always going to be your choice, your step took you where you are. But one of the biggest things in the recovery process, the repair process, is that if you're blaming, you're remaining. And that is so plain and simple, it says it all. As long as I continue to blame somebody else for my problem today, even if I'm blaming the kids that I'm upset because their shoes are on the floor, I'm remaining upset because I'm not addressing the shoes no longer being on the floor, or whatever life is dealing with at the time. You can't blame anybody. You have to step back and say, okay, where is the solution? What is the root problem here? Is the root problem that I didn't get my point across? Is the root problem that I haven't come up with a specific answer to my situation? Or am I just blaming everybody else? It's easy to blame. It's easy to blame a car accident because you stay sick for 5 years or 10 years. It's easy to blame something. You have to have something to blame instead of blaming yourself, because paraplegics can walk and climb mountains, if they set their mind to it. Well, there's other people who can have a minor sickness and be crippled up. Well, I can't walk, I can't write, I can't do anything because I have this little illness. It's what you set your mind to that you want to overcome, and you stop blaming and feeling sorry for yourself. You had mentioned that a while ago.
Yeah.
You know, the self-pity, the woe is me. It's easy to get in that woe is me and not even realize, you know, that it's all about me and my thoughts. Or is it about the solution?
Yeah.
And we have to get to a point, Mike, that we're looking for solutions. You can talk about what's causing it, the causes, the culprits, all the ifs, ands, and buts about our days. We're all looking for solutions.
Yeah.
If we continue blaming, we're going to remain, period. How much more counseling do you need on that subject, really?
Yeah.
The truth makes you free once you accept the truth.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And everything gives off something. If you've got an attitude of woe is me, guess where you're going to stay? Woe is you.
Be a victim.
You're going to be a victim. If you get an attitude of, I am conquering this, I'm overcoming it, no matter what, you're not going to make me feel bad about this, guess what? You've already overcome it. Because you're no longer the victim, you're the conqueror, because you're putting a stop to it.
Yep.
And that is where? Power of the mind.
Well,
The choices we make.
Part of what you say can also become, unless people get it, the victim. I have a friend that I talk to about this. He always blames himself for everything. He accepts responsibility for everything, even other people's actions.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that so far on the other side that he not only accepts responsibility for his actions, he accepts responsibility for everybody else's actions. So he's a victim, and I talked to him actually tonight, and I said, what happens if you call your friend up and ask him to bring him and his wife and his children come over to your house for dinner, and on the way, a drunk driver hits their car and damages it really bad, doesn't kill any of them, but hurts them really bad? Is that your fault because you asked him to come over to your house? And he said yes. Because if I hadn't asked him, he wouldn't have been on the road. He wouldn't have been driving. His perception of responsibility is so distorted that he's a permanent victim of everything that goes wrong and feels sorry for himself all the time.
So there just about would have to be something in his life, in his past, in his raising, in his growing up, that would have made that happen by a way he was taught or always told, you did this, it's your fault. It's your fault. Something in that.
We had a long talk tonight.
Something would have caused that, because that's very rare for someone to take all the blame.
Well,
it can also that way.
It can also be a
pattern of thinking, though.
It can also be a community thought, because, and we don't have much time left, but I'll try and tell this story very quickly. When I was working in the Middle East, we were told if we were ever in an accident or if something happened, not to get out of the vehicle we were in, but have the vehicle go straight to the American embassy or to an embassy anywhere and get there quick. Because years ago, apparently there was a European in a taxi going somewhere in the Middle East. This was in Dubai. They hit a little person and killed him. Well, because the taxi driver told the crowd that he wouldn't have been there driving if the person and the passenger hadn't told him to, they killed the passenger because of that. Because it was his fault for making the taxi driver be there in the first place. Now that can become a mob mentality. And I know that's a little bit off, but that's also exactly what we talk about when maturity. And we're down to about 30 seconds to go on this show, and this one went by quick. We have to really go after a lot of growing up versus maturity in the future, or we're going to end up with a big mess in the future.
It's already showing now.
Yep. Thank you very much, Carrie.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
looking forward to keeping this show going. This is exciting.